All right, 2026 Ford Raptor, not the R. This one is loaded though. Really nice, black on black everything. I really like how they kind of themed the color of the sticker with the suspension and everything. Tires max out my gauge at 13 plus. All wear really nice. It does have matching spare. As far as exterior, it's almost flawless. I did find a couple things. First one is a little nick in the trim. It's not the actual center, just the trim around it. And then on this door here, there's a touch-up spot. It was really hard to find at first, but they touched it up. I don't know if the camera's gonna see it, but right above my finger, there's a little touch-up spot. You can kind of see the ding before you see the paint touch-up. And then over here, above this sticker, there's some light scratches. Probably just from, I would say, a rag when they were wiping it down. And then my next big gripe is up here. That bad boy. Let the camera focus. She's deep. So there's a small dimple there with it. But none of the plastics are chewed up. Like I said, the hooks haven't been used. They still have the little slag bits. There's no like wear on there or any kind of rub marks. I don't even think there's been a hitch in that thing. So overall, pretty good. Really good looking truck. Nothing stood out that was surprising. These are the lights I was talking about. These covers, you just pop these off, and then you use the auxiliary switches in the top of the cab to turn those on. The outside ones are run by the fog lights. Both sides. Looks good. All right, I just got the keys. I'm gonna hop in. We're gonna do a true cold start here real quick. Alright, fired right up, so it's good. I worry sometimes these will need a dump. So this is not the Raptor R, so you still have the 3.5 or in turbo. It does have some dressing like the Ford Performance stuff and everything. Stock box, stock inlets. See, factory turbos, factory downpipes. They did do an oil change while they had it. Once this is hot, I'll make sure it's at the correct level. Everything over here is good. And then charge pipes and everything are good. And then there's the kick down. Very smooth, very quiet, very quick. It's kind of warm out, but it's not like the hottest day, but that kicked down very quickly. It's gonna have an electric assist rack. Obviously fluids all look amazing because they're brand new. Nothing to really gripe on. Brand new battery still. Really, really clean engine bay. They're pretty busy up in here. You got a cooling element in here. EGR stuff's all still there, all your EGR stuff. We'll stop at that point. Alright, so I use this little mirror to kind of scan from underneath. Going from the front at first, I always like to do this and make sure if you hit anything or anything's beat up, hanging down, anything wet looks real shiny and stuff. So good way. There is an access door there. I believe that's where your oil filter is. Control arms and everything look really good. Doesn't look like they've been dinged up at all or anything like that. Truck's high enough, so I'm gonna actually dish the mirror for some of this just to show you a little deeper in. But all the skid plates and panels are all still here. It goes back all the way to the transmission, kind of covers that as well. And then while I'm here, I just want to point out tow hooks, front and rear, have no marks on the inside like they've been used, so that's always good. All right, we're at the driver front corner. So tread's actually really good, nice even, no real feather. It's all nice, no grabs or any kind of like uneven. I took some good pictures of these, but I know you were really avid about seeing like the housings and everything. Bump stops are all still there, plastic covers, cables, everything in great condition. And then these have like an electric adjustment on the front, so there's no like external valve. Ball joints, everything look really good over here. And then we're gonna hop back over to the mirror to look at your rockers. So these do have these pretty tough steps. I bounced up and down on them, they're not loose. I've been in a couple trucks where you get some good air on. So a frame obviously in really good shape. The protection pan for the transmission still there. Transfer case has a little pan or skid plate there. And then your body's in really good shape. I always look at these bottom corners because that's where stuff gets stuck up in there. All looking really good. Yeah, body mount. These steps are to the cab, not the frame, so I wouldn't use them as sliders, just so you know. Stock exhaust. Still on the driver's side, these are going to be your ladder link, rear diff. So it's shock and coil, no leaf spring. So you got this really beefy lower arm, and then just like a normal upper arm there. There is on these trucks a little sensor here. It kind of gauges your height or travel, and then I believe that works in conjunction with the damper settings. And then your cab corner looking really good, and then body mount. We're gonna go straight from the back. I do want to get like a close-up on your external reservoir. No dings or anything like that. Housings are really good. Everything's still fully intact here. Okay, all the way at the back, we do have a full-size spare, matching tread, stock exhaust. These are valved exhausts, so you can kind of change your tone. There's 4 different options. The quiet tone, I was pretty surprised. Actually gets really quiet, and then sport gets pretty loud. So, but it all looks good. Isolators and everything are still solid. And then I'm gonna crawl under here so you can see the pan bar in good shape. There's a little flat piece to fit the spare, but that's how it's supposed to be. Passenger side on the reservoirs and the shock tower. Well, it's not tower, it's just shock. Your spring and everything. The beefy lower arm. Pretty good for factory. I'm surprised by that. And then we'll look cab corner, body mount, and everything. Looks really good. We'll go up to the front now. All right, onto the driver's side. Try to make this part quick. Same deal. All in really good shape. Alright, we're starting this thing up. Start at the steering wheel always, they're really busy these days. This does have a heated wheel option right down here. So this is when you push the R, that's a custom mode that you can set up. The original owner just has it all for normal, pretty low, basic. Adaptive cruise up to 4, it does have lane keep, centering, alerts. It'll kind of steer a little bit for you. Voice controls and volume, menu for this screen, and then how to cycle through. You can change how the steering responds. Comfort was crazy, like you could almost turn this whole thing just by flicking it. It's really crazy. And then shocks, normal. Sport is really firm, and then this loosens it up, kind of makes a little more body roll. Some of the modes, it gets upset if you're not off-road. It lets you know. Put this back to normal. Like the exhaust, it says this one. I don't know if you can hear that on camera. I might get back there at some point for the end part and go through all that, but it does make a difference. Quiet is crazy. Big screen here. You do have the auto shut off, camera, parking assists, hazard, traction control, and all that. Audio works. Nav is really good, follows well. And then backup camera. I have the doors open, so that's why this part looks crazy. So there's cameras on the mirrors. Normally it's just the side of the truck. And then when you play with the modes here and you put it into off-road, it automatically puts it in four-wheel drive, and then this is now the front camera for like a bumper control. Also opens the exhaust by itself. Put it back to normal. Shifts back into 2. It's pretty good, pretty intuitive. Does have this fancy little deal. The phone charger works. This does close. This opens flat. And then it also opens big wise. Couple is back here, couple is over here. Not in the door though. And then it does have heads up. If you look below the Subaru in that parking spot, that's there. All right, pause here. We're gonna look from the outside in. Overall, truck's in really good shape. There's like a little bit of marks from like boots, but it's just like dirt kind of in the texture. There's no real scuffs to it. Seats and everything are in good shape. Has these weather mats. Carpet's never been seen the light of day. You can adjust pedals. Tons of light controls. When you look on the exterior, I'll talk about a covered light. The auxiliary lights cover or turn on that covered light. Power folding mirrors, memory seats, and then windows all work. Back here, same deal. I don't know if these were used very much at all. Does have the storage bins that is collapsible, so you can lay this all flat. And then same deal with the carpet. I don't think it's ever seen the light of day. Heated seats in the rear. So on the passenger side now, on both sides there's these little scuffs in the aluminum plate on their door. So both sides, there's just a little scuff like that. This side's just as good. Nothing here. Door card here, as you can see, more little feeties. I don't know why people do that. Power seat both sides. I did notice this one has like this nick on the seat here. Hasn't torn at the threads or anything. Got really close though. But that'll most likely be over time where that separation comes from. And then push this button for that one. The box has the owner's manual and stuff. So we're gonna stop with the interior. Oh wait, so sorry. Glass panoramic. Also has the power rear slider, so you could air this thing out. I rolled all of it open, and I shouldn't have done that, but it was cool. All right, so trunk, truck bed, rear hatch, whatever the thing's got, we're looking at it. So this truck bed here, you do have a power gate here. It will stop itself if it feels resistance. So that's good. Fought me there. So damper, it does have the step built into it. These are kind of cool. They made them more utility, some measurements and stuff. There's a button to turn on the cargo and everything. And then all these little pressure holes for your straps. Bed is lined. Doesn't look like it's ever been used. Looks really, really good. It does have a power back here, so if you have like a camper, or typically you see stuff like that for like fifth wheels, but I guess to get more popular for like overlanding, stuff like that. And then this here is just like a little storage bin. It says it's like 20 pounds or something max. I don't know. Something to look into. And then this bad boy, you just push up and it finishes the job. So you do have this camera here, a little light, and then radar stuff for when you're backing up. It does like a crow or eagle vision, however you like to call it. It looks around the whole thing. Looks good. All right, so we have a full scan of all the modules on this bad boy. All passes, no faults. So really good. Pause here. I'm going to move over to the monitors and some information. All right, final thing here, we go through our monitors. These are all just basically things that are being measured while you're driving the vehicle. The evap and cat did not finish their cycles. Now, I normally do a pretty good amount of highway. I do a pretty hard pull on these, and then I just cruise at like 50 for at least 5 miles to kind of make sure all this gets going. We do over a 10-mile drive just to be sure we get like a full cycle. That being said, it does have like below a quarter tank. I know with these capless systems, sometimes that can make it a little bit hard for the evaps. The cat, I expected to have a clear on. Doesn't necessarily concern me. You'll see like on the underside, it's all factory, everything's still there. And usually if you have a tune, these are all forced green checks or gray circles with the tune, just to tell the car it's happy anyways. I was able to scan all the monitors without any issues there. So I don't believe this has a tune. It didn't respond like a tune. It doesn't have any burbles or anything like that. It has the different exhaust notes, but it doesn't have anything that I would say has been messed with. The VIN still pops as the same as on the car, and it's still like, you know, in the Ford system. So typically it'll like have its own standalone. That's what tunes typically do, is like, hey, you're gonna be okay with the information I've given you regardless of what the car wants, right? So nothing here says that it's had a tune for me. We try to keep these to about 90 minutes for the inspection, so I try not to do more than like 10-15 miles. Rarely do I do 20, but sometimes it takes that with these systems. To highlight on that, we don't have any kind of egg or sulfur smells or any kind of weird cat smells. We did the cold start together. I was kind of at the back at the beginning of that, didn't have any puffs or any kind of smokes. I know sometimes the turbos will kind of pool, so I mean, this is a brand new truck still, so I mean, nothing here pointing anything out to me. It looks good. All right, we're gonna run through just a full inspection real quickly. I always try to make these look alive at the end here, kind of station them out. Wait for that guy to take off. There we go. Overall, truck runs, drives, does everything it's supposed to. There is a lot of different settings at which you can drive the truck. Made sure to test those out as best as I could and had no issues. I did note a couple little blemishes with some paint work. I did note one fault on the seat on the passenger side and just a couple nicks on the outside. As far as your notes about overall condition, they did run it through shop. They did do an oil change and just kind of made sure everything looks good. As far as off-roading, there's no real like deposits of dirt. There's no dents. There's nothing like flung up in these wheel arches or anything. No scarring behind. Everything just still looks really, really good. And there's no liner here. This is the metal. So if it was getting rallied, it would have a lot of dings here. Body and everything's still really, really good. No chips. No scrapes on the steps. No pinstriping. Typically you'll see like in these cloths, you'll see like just dirt in the sides that the guys didn't wash out very well, and it's good. Like even the seams and everything are nice. Glass is in really good shape. I know with these safety glass, like all the safety scents and stuff, those are not cheap anymore, so I really make a point about that. Now this truck has your manufacturer warranty and everything still active, but they also CPO'd this truck, so you have an extended warranty after the manufacturer's warranty on this. They do cover quite a bit of stuff on these trucks. As long as you weren't just blatantly jumping it like the video on YouTube that the guy did back in the day, they usually take care of you. Yeah, I don't really have any major things to point out. I did point out some body stuff, but overall the truck is in really good shape. Really low mileage, obviously. It's just under 5,000 miles, so not a lot of life been had in it. Computer came back good. Everything's stock and everything. So like you were wondering about a tune and stuff. Let me pause here. All right, I'm back. So I did talk about it in the engine bay, but EGR and everything's still here. Factory turbo housings, stock downpipes and cats are all still there. None of these bolts look like they've been messed with or anything. Stock intake. This hose, I don't know if that's supposed to be all the way up or not. That bothered me. I just want to make note. I noticed that while I was checking the oil level. By the way, you gotta be like a 7-foot tall guy to get to that. At least a foot taller than me. But really, really good shape. Again, if this was something that was off-roaded, even if they did clean this, it would be all embedded up in here and dirt would just be deposited, stuck into these fibers and stuff. Be all in the chutes, be all down in the radiator area. So from what I was told, it was an older guy. Well, I don't know if he was really older, but older than me, obviously. He bought this, and then they had a 60th anniversary of the Bronco or something. He had a Bronco before, traded in for this, and then they had a 60th anniversary Bronco, and he traded this back in for that. So must have been more fancy for the Bronco, wanted the anniversary one. You know how that goes. So as far as I know, this was traded in for a facelift or trim update. We're gonna stop here. This is your Raptor.